Hey, welcome to this module on an introduction to Agile. Here we'll be talking about the fundamentals, the foundations of agility. I am Joseph Lahiff, and I will be your Whitewater Project guide to the foundations of agility. In this section, we'll be talking about a lot of different things. We'll be covering the foundations, the basics that make up agility, what do people mean. So the first section first video we'll talk about what do people actually mean when they say Agile. They mean a lot of different things, and what should you be thinking, and what will we be using the term to mean in this video, in this series of videos. The next video we'll talk about the benefits. Why would you want to be Agile? There are more than you would imagine, and some of the benefits may surprise you. They're different than maybe you might think. We'll talk about the history and influences. What were the things that led up to the need to have a different approach to doing work, to executing, and what were the influences that led towards agility specifically? Then we'll talk about the Agile Manifesto, which is a very important milestone in the development of agility in 2001. A group of people got together, and we'll talk about the history of that, how they came together, and what were the values that they espoused at that meeting. And then in the next video, we'll talk about they went further after they agreed on 4 basic values. They then expanded into 12 principles, and we'll go into those 12 principles as well. Again, very high level at this point. We're just talking about the basics. We will then discuss the difference between iterative and incremental development of a product. A lot of times you'll hear these words iterative and incremental used interchangeably. They are not. This video will explain to you what the difference is. Visually, you'll be able to understand it. And then we'll talk about what does it mean to have them combined, and why would you want to combine both iterative and incremental to optimize your ability to be nimble. We'll talk about change cycles. What is a change cycle, and why should you care? We'll expand the definition of agility through the use of change cycles. We'll talk about some of the common problems and biggest misconceptions. This is a section that people tell me they really appreciate and get a lot out of, because they're often in organizations confused why their organization is struggling with becoming agile, and they talk to their peers in another organization and they're doing it just super easy. What is the big disconnect between those two types of organizations? And we'll talk about what those are and help you understand what to expect in these different contexts. And then we'll talk about something called a cargo cult, which is a great little story and very important to your growth as someone who is understanding agility and what it means to be agile. And in the last section, we will talk about when is agile the best choice. Some people say agile is always the best choice. Other people say, well, there's very few times. It's very these niche edge things, only in the web things, or only startups or something like that. I'll give you a model in this section where you can look at different models of becoming agile, and when it's best to be agile, and when being regular old sequential might make sense. So those are the things that you'll be covering. By the time you're done with this section, you'll have a good, firm foundation in the basics, the underpinnings of agility. I suggest that you would go through this at least once a year for a while, so that you can reestablish for yourself the foundations that are driving agility, and what are those things that are so important to becoming agile. All right, so let's stop this video and get started on the next one. I'll see you there.